Good evening. Today we're going to talk about the climate change. First, we need to talk about what is climate. Climate is usually weather of a place, but it depends or change between the seasons. For example, in the winter, a place could be cold and foggy, but in the summer, it's kind of hot and dry out. But it also depends on the geographical location. For example, in Hermosillo, the winter and summer is mostly the same, it's hot and dry out. So, what is climate change? Climate change is like the tiny effect of the modifications of the climate has in a location. For example, let's say that in New York it's raining less and the temperature is getting higher every time. Or like the dam from Hermosillo is getting lower and lower in the level of water. Now, the difference between weather and climate is that the weather can change between hours. Like in the morning it's 7 degrees and in the top 12 p.m. is like 40 degrees. And well, the climate takes like years to, at least you can notice that something is changing. Okay, the main effect that the climate change carries, surprise, is changing climate, like I explained before. Weather shortage, like in Hermosillo, longer winters, like not in Hermosillo. Near terrain, like in China, the desert is growing against China and India. And the industrial impact that this topic will be explained with Gerardo.
Causes of the climate change. The climate change is caused by the gases that are in the Earth's atmosphere that trap the sun heat and don't let it go again to space. Many of these gases occur naturally, but most recently, the human activity has increased their concentration in the atmosphere. Like carbon dioxide, which is the most common gas, because it's the one that are produced in the majority of in the human activities, even breathing. Then is methane, which is a little bit rare, nitrous oxide, which is a little bit more concentrated than methane, and the fluorine gases. Economy and climate change. The climate change impacts on every aspect of economy, especially the food market, because it is harder to maintain the crops, and not only that, the products that are sensitive to heat or cold are more difficult to transport from one point to another. All of this implies that the company have to invest even more as time passes by, because, well, as time passes by, the climate gets worse, it gets hotter or colder. What could corporations do or try to do to solve this issue? Increasing energy efficiency. Well, this means that the corporation have to find a way to produce more with less fuels. Transition from renewable power sources. Well, corporations can use for electricity and fuels, and they can use other type of energies like solar energy, and the control of your waste disposal. Organizations often produce a lot of waste and they just throw it away like it was nothing, and they are causing major damage. But if they were to be controlled by an authority or themselves, they could reduce the damage they are doing to the air. Recycle as much as possible. Well, recycling means to do more with the things you have. So you can reuse things, and you don't have to, like say, buy another bottle. When you have one, you can just pour some water, etc. And get involved. Get involved is for you to be aware of the situation. We are not able to be careless because the planet is dying.
What can an individual possibly do for applying the climate change and reduce these kind of issues? There's this team that says individual acts for a brighter future. So for all that we do, we can help our planet be more kind for any future generations, so they can expect a clean planet. Okay, so what can an individual possibly do for reducing the climate change situation? The first thing that we should think about is how we use transport. We kind of overuse it by everyone, like in a regular home, they have each person that lives there like a car. So what can we possibly do is walk or use a bicycle, or is it use the public transport so we can get to each place by distance. Something like for kind of big cities, use like one car for each day of the week. Like I don't know, on Saturday and Friday and Thursday you can use that car, but when you're on the other daily basis, you can only use a public transport. So that's a big way to help the environment. Another is the 3 R's, which are reduce, and recycle. By using this term, you can, for example, buy fewer things and use and consume less. So, or recycle, when example that using plastic bottles, you can recycle them by pouring another liquid, or you can send it to the place where you can make the recycle for another kind of plastic product. For example, another way to help our environment is by getting more energy efficient, so we can pollute less and use less money. For example, in this way, you can, I don't know, make with an architecture. So if you like to get a home that doesn't use that much. Okay, another way to improve the climate change by being individual, you can either eat food that's not too much, for example, that have a lot of process, so the fabrics don't contaminate a lot. You can, in this case, eat meat-free meals, or either you grow your own vegetables, so you know what kind of process they are being forced to, or well, buy organic food. And well, most of it, whichever they teach you, do not waste the food, because they can be kind of harmful for the environment. Another way is to let industries, you care about the climate change. In this case, it's more going to the kind of fossil investment, or for example, like fossil fuels, to let them know what kind of damage they're causing to our planet. Like let them know, instruct them how's the best way to use them, or any kind of substitute product that can be used for this kind of issues. And another is, well, you can invest in renewable energy, for example, like by using solar panels. But some places they don't let you, for like the government doesn't let you. But that's, you need to make some research, like which kind of renewable energy can be used on your country or your state.
Nice.
Matane.
Bye bye.